How's it going?
It's all right. How you doing?
I'm okay.
How you doing?
No, don't do that ever again. Never again. What is happening, everybody? What's up? It's Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Live haul. Roughly 12 seconds before we were going to go live. I heard Grizz start to whimper downstairs. I don't know what the deal is with that. Our dog Grizz. She suddenly decided she needs attention. So rude. Now there's a big truck going by. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the problem is. Your hair is very curly today. What's up with that? What's up with that?
I'm trying to embrace the messy curls lately.
I like it. I like it. And you just recently added some color, so it looks like it goes dark. You got like an ombre thing going on with your hair.
Yep, it's true.
You congratulate me on my vocabulary.
I'm impressed that you know such a girly word.
Is ombre a girly word? That's not a girly word. That's just a gradation of color.
It's true, but it's also about a hair coloring technique. So I'm actually shocked.
Yeah.
That you
Well, okay, but I don't know the word just that from hair. You guys, do you see how I'm being attacked here and patronized?
Do you see how defensive she is? Every time. Every time.
What is happening, everybody? Good to see. I think we've got some new people in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
I know we had an influx of new people come into the Boss Facebook group because they came over from the List Perfectly group.
From
and
our
some
friends at List Perfectly.
Yes,
they were always plugging our channel and our group. So we appreciate those ladies.
You know, because all these different groups, there's so many different reseller groups in social media, on Facebook, on Instagram. You know, people with different YouTube channels, and it when you step back from it, it's a really big community. But there's a lot of overlap, and everybody's just kind of wanders in and out of different communities, and so It's always nice to see new people come here and watch us. If you have not watched us before, in the past we've had multiple shows a week. Right now we're just doing one show a week. This one we do it live, and it's always been our favorite show.
I've been talking.
She's been talking about
maybe bringing back a second show during the week.
It's tough.
It's tough because it's a difficult schedule because we work so much. So to be fair, a show does take some preparation. It does take time away from the actual workflow. But we love you guys, and we've done a few Fridays after dark over the past few months. But we had actually gotten rid of our Wednesday Boss Up and List show, and also our Friday No Pants Friday show. So kind of like we had a lot of audience participation in our group after our show last week. I'm actually going to take a poll in the comments after our show. If you could write in the comments, not in the comments on the side, because we won't be able to review those after the show. But if you want to leave a comment after the show, if we were to bring back a second show during the week, do you prefer the Boss Up and List Wednesday show, which was our show that dealt primarily with business questions and topics every week? Or do you prefer the Friday, No Pants Friday show, which was kind of our AMA hangout? So,
and also
we can't do both. So, but we are seriously considering bringing back one of them, and I would really like to know which one you would prefer to watch. To be fair, this show is our show that gets the most views every time, and our Boss Up and List show is probably our least watched show as far as YouTube views. But that doesn't mean that we wouldn't be interested in doing it if our loyal viewers were most interested in that one.
Yes. And also I would be interested to know what people's thoughts are about time of day. Because I mean, I know for me, what's hard about during the day is it's like you work for a couple hours and then you got to stop everything and do a show and then try to work some more hours. So I'd be interested to know, would people prefer earlier in the day, later in the day, nighttime? So just tell us what kind of show you would like to see. It's going to be a live show because
that's what we do.
That just is a lot easier for
and
us.
And it's more
fun to hang out with you guys.
Actually, either format works better with live anyway, because obviously the AMA hang out with us, ask us anything. We need to have a live audience. But the other show, which is more business related, is the one where we're answering a lot of questions regarding a specific topic that are live. So both require a live format for us. We just want to know which one you guys like better, because we can't bring them both back. 3 shows a week was a little bit much. And it, as much as we love you, we had to cut it down.
Indeed.
But I've had some time, I've had some space, so has Katy, and I think we're ready to bring back a second show. We just want to know which one you guys like the best.
Yeah, indeed. So speaking of leaving, so again, comment that in the comments on this video after the live part of the show is over. But speaking of that, last week we had our show and I had people comment down below, and we actually were doing a contest. We were going to pick a random person that commented in last week's video We're going to randomly pick one person, and that person's going to get a $25 gift card to eBay. And so I'm actually going to go ahead right now and pick who the winner is. So I wanted to do it sharing the screen with you guys for all transparency. We ended up with 61 different comments from different people. So let me go ahead. I'm going to do it right now at the top of the show. Here we go. So I got a little handy little spreadsheet here, numbered 1 through 61. So everybody who commented in the show last week, it's going to be obviously your YouTube name, because that's what shows up on the screen. So 1 through 61, I'm using random.org. You can see I already did right here. The minimum is 1. The maximum is 61. So I'm going to go ahead and hit generate, and it's going to automatically choose a random number between those numbers. So let's go ahead and hit generate. Bam! What? Look at that. We got a 1.
That's weird.
It's I think it's pretty exciting for Bobby Miller. Bobby, which I'm actually really stoked that Bobby's the one that won, because Bobby, contest or no, she comments on pretty much every single show. Week. She leaves a comment for us. So I'm really glad to see that she won. And
I do believe she watches the show on Monday mornings after Sunday, because we always get the comments Monday mornings.
So Bobby, I'll wait for you to reach out to me. I think we've chatted before on Facebook Messenger. So go ahead and send me a message, and I'm just going to send you a digital code, a digital gift card for eBay for $25. But congratulations. And again, I'm happy to see that Bobby won, because she does comment on the regular. So very, very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and close that out. Anyway, so guys, for any of you that are new, this is our show that we do every Sunday. What are you pointing at?
Highlight the last comment.
Hold on a second. Hold on. We got Nanny and Papa in the house. Oh, in the house. Your dad's right. Your dad's my mom. With the kids.
I know. This is my mom and dad, who have probably never watched the show, which I think is hysterical, because my mother doesn't even know how to text. So I think it's great that they figured out how to log on to the YouTubes and leave a comment. So hi guys, we miss you, love you.
Hello. Well, I'm impressed though, because my parents still have never. They've seen like videos that played. Like I have to physically be in the house with them to play a video for them to watch.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they've never watched a live show as far as
we recorded a show at their house.
Yeah. My dad made it through like a month of being on Facebook before he noped right on out of there. But anyway, good to see you guys. Hello. Very cool.
All right. So we're going to start our show.
Well, so this is our
right?
Well, yeah. So this is our regular show that we do every Sunday. It's our Sunday live haul. We split it up into 3 parts. The first part of the show, we go over our real numbers for the last week. We look at our gross numbers across all of our platforms, and we break down what our costs are, cost of goods, fees, shipping, that kind of stuff, to kind of give you an idea of how we're doing from week to week. And then the second part of the show, we look at our sales highlights for the week, kind of all the cool stuff that we sold, or things that we think are interesting or maybe teachable. And then the last part of our show is our haul. And I actually went and bought stuff. The last 2 weeks, I haven't had anything new.
The house.
I put pants on. I put real pants on, guys.
Real pants.
I bathed myself. Then I put my pants on. And I went to yesterday's fits, and I got a ton of stuff. So I've got some really cool vintage streetwear stuff to show you guys. And of course, Vicki's got.
I've got a couple of things. Not too many dolls this week. I've decided to just show you a couple of highlights in the doll realm this week, and a couple of stuffed animals and things like that. Because Katy did all of the show and tell, I did all the show and tell last week. I'm going to let Katy have the majority of the time this week. I think it's only fair, right? So, especially since she's a bit winded when she talks. So I want to make sure she has enough time to showcase all her fabulous wares.
There are some people want to know if your mom has colored hair as well. Because your daughter is purple right now. You're pink.
My daughter has purple hair.
It might be your mom's turn.
No, my mom is actually at 71, finally embracing the gray. It's funny you should say that. She has decided to stop coloring her hair and let the gray come back out. We have the same color hair. We both have dirty blonde, light brown hair in general. And so she's starting to embrace going back to her natural color with the gray. And I think it's pretty cool looking. So I haven't seen my mom in almost a year because of COVID. The last time I saw my mom was February. My mom and dad was mid-February. So yeah, we're missing mom and dad right now. So
indeed. I'm missing those hot wieners and lobster rolls.
That's right.
We got to get back over there. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to share the screen. We're going to do the first part of the show and look at numbers. I will tell you, my sales greatly improved over this last week after having a bit of a slump towards middle and end of December. Vikki will tell you that her sales dropped dramatically and they are mediocre, which means they're still more than mine.
Probably.
For sure.
So Jennifer Goodell says we won't be having any shots in the chat today because she has deemed it that every time I say the F word, they get to do shots. So to
be fair, that's usually only
once during a show. To be fair, my parents have heard me cuss many times. So
it's true.
That's not going to stop me. They know I have a
they know she's rotten. They know.
I'm 45 years old at this point. They know I have a trucker mouth.
All right, let's go ahead and start off with my numbers. Looking at last week. So this last week ending yesterday, Saturday, starting last Sunday. And so you can see I actually didn't have a ton of stuff go out, but my average sale price jumps because I had some really good high priced items sell this last week. So 18 orders on eBay, 7 through Etsy. Etsy definitely dropped from the week before. Nothing on Instagram, 5 between Grilled and Mercari. I believe I had 3 on Grilled, 2 on Mercari for a total of 30 items going out this last week. eBay, first time in a while, I finally broke 2,000 in gross sales with $2,077.44. My Etsy dropped down a little bit to $642.73. And then between Grilled and Mercari, I did $332. So I did actually break through the 3,000 mark for my gross, $3,052.17. Which I would love to be able to do that every week. My shipping, not too bad, $173.40. And then you can see the breakdown of all the fees with the different percentages from the different selling platforms. So my total cost, $517. And then the cost of goods, of course, my cost of goods are pretty much always going to be higher than Vikki's. I pay up a lot for some of the stuff that I get. So $435 cost of goods. So my total net sales for the first time in a little while broke $2,000, $2,100.17. My gross average sale price, much higher than normal. Usually I'm just a little over 70, but I'm at $101.74 for my gross average sale price. My net is $70 a penny, you guys. Very exciting. So I'm actually pretty happy about this last week. I'd love to see, it's funny because my very best day, I was at 0 sales for the day across all platforms until roughly like 5:45 that evening. And then all of a sudden I started getting all these big sales and I think I did like $705 and I was all excited. Like I'm going to beat Vikki this day in sales. And she starts getting sales all of a sudden. And then she's like, adds it up on her little calculator on her phone. And yeah, 710. In fact, I think she ended up getting more sales later that day.
I did.
So it's like every time I think I'm pulling ahead, guys, every time I think maybe I can build up my self-esteem, feel a little bit better about myself as a businesswoman, Victoria over here, like slams her foot on the gas and leaves me in her dust. And it's just, I feel like it's really rude and it's not her really being supportive of me and my business and my dreams. So
really?
Yeah, that's all I want to say. But anyway, no, I feel really good about my sales this week. And I feel like I'm getting in a lot of really good inventory. I'm super happy with all the stuff that Jesse from Yesterday's Fits has been bringing in. And he's just such an awesome person to be able to do business with. So I'm feeling good about 2021 as far as business goes. So I'm hoping I'm going to keep it up. And I just need to stop comparing myself to Vikki because it just makes me sad.
You will always fall short.
I'm just kidding. I love that. I love how well she does. So let's go ahead and let's see how that is. Let's see how dramatically her sales have dropped and how horrible she did this last week. Pretty awesome, I think.
So just the number of eBay sales actually dropped quite a bit, eBay and Etsy. So I did 35 sales on eBay, 6 on Etsy, 12 on Poshmark. I'm telling you, Poshmark is becoming my new bae. 10 between Mercari and Facebook Marketplace. I believe Facebook Marketplace, I had like 5 or 6 orders. So I'm also picking up on Facebook Marketplace. I have found that my vintage clothing there is meh, but any hard goods seem to go very well. So it is what it is. So I had a total of 63 outgoing orders. I did just over $2,000 on eBay, $468 on Etsy, $698 on Poshmark, $341 on Mercari, $269 on Facebook Marketplace, for a total of $3,800 in sales this week. My shipping is right around $310. Again, my shipping and my cost of goods both tend to be in the 10% of my sale price range, within give or take a few percentage points. That's fairly consistent for me. So you can see the breakdown of the fees: eBay fees, Etsy fees, Poshmark fees, Mercari fees. The one thing I do not have down there is I do have Mercari fees and Facebook Marketplace fees kind of lumped in together. We have to adjust the.
I don't have them together. I did them separately.
So we have to adjust our spreadsheet to make this account for Facebook Marketplace now. So total $780 in fees. My cost of goods $315, so a little less than 10% this week. And my net sales for the week, $27.07.
Nice.
So my average sale price is right around $60, which is where it's been fairly consistent over the past year.
Mm-hmm.
And my net average sale price is just under $43 this week. So good week.
That's really good because you've been saying, like, obviously we would always like our average sale prices to be much higher at any time. It's going to make us happy. But your goal is usually to try and be above 50.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like recently you've been breaking through the $60 mark, which is pretty cool. My goal is always, at this point, is 70. And I saw somebody in the chat. Oh yeah. Tommy wanted to know what my net average sale price was a year ago. I don't know about my net. But I do know that I was like probably a year ago. I'd have to go back and look, but I'd say probably a year ago it was probably around like 50 or so. But since I've been paying up, like this last year, I really changed how much I was paying up for stuff. And that, obviously that drives my costs up, but it also drives my net, my gross up as well. Mm-hmm. And so I think I've probably had at least a $20 jump in average sale price on the gross side. On the net side, I would say probably a good $15 jump, but I would have to go back and actually look at all of those.
And I haven't, I don't pay up. I don't pay up for my stuff. Yeah. We know that. I'm super cheap. I'm not like Katy. So I'm super cheap on what I will pay for cost of goods. So my gross average sale price over the last year has probably jumped about $10. I used to be around 50. It's very consistently around 60, 65 now. Mm-hmm. And then the net, of course, stays is in line with what it used to be before. Because again, my shipping costs haven't really increased, but my shipping is always higher than Katy's because I do sell a lot of hard goods and heavier items. Katy only sells clothing. Mm-hmm. And my cost of goods is almost always lower than hers. So you can see who makes more money.
So rude. So Cherry Darling, that's our friend Leah, says, where's the link for the spreadsheet that we use? I know you are in our Boss Facebook group. And so it's in our Boss Facebook group. And I believe it's in like the files, if you know how to find
files section,
the files of a group. It's there. Teresa did create this spreadsheet specifically for us. But anybody can use it. She has it in there in the files in our Boss Facebook group, which the group is linked down below. And Leah, I know you're already in it, but for anyone else that is interested, we don't use this for any of our actual record keeping.
It's not something we use for tax
the show.
Purposes. It's just the one for the show because obviously it only has the hard costs associated with selling, and we do a cash in, cash out accounting method. So weekly is not what's going to work for us. So just to clarify, not good for tax purposes, but good for you to keep track of your weekly numbers as a whole. Just, if you feel the need to do so like this.
Well, yeah. And I know some people don't even, I've talked to people before where they're like, I don't really pay attention to what my average sale price is. And, honestly, I think you should. I think it's easy, when you sell things, let's say you sell something like you only sell printer ink and you have very set costs and you have to really pay close attention to your margins. There's things that you have to pay attention to. And I think it's very easy for people like us who are selling like one-off, used items to not really pay as close attention to that kind of stuff. But I think it's important because I think it's good to be able to see kind of where you're at now, maybe set some goals. That's a good, this is the beginning of the year. It's a good time to kind of set some goals, maybe figure out like when you did all your sales of the last year, try to figure out what's your average sale price for the whole year of 2020 and maybe try to set a goal for increasing that, and maybe be a little more mindful of that when you're going out and you're sourcing and when you're making decisions about what you're going to buy and what you're going to sell. It's just one of those things that I think
it definitely takes just as much time to photograph, prepare, and list a $20 item as it does to do the same for a $40 or $50 item.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about making your time and your money and your efforts work the most for you, whether that means you have 2 hours a week to work on your business or you work 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
I would rather list 100 items a week and have these type of sales than list 300 items a week and have these types of sales. Do you know what I mean? I think we've said that a few times. So it's all about learning how to buy better, because we all know the money is made in when you purchase your item, not when you sell your item. So you need to learn to buy better categories and better sell through items. And hopefully you've learned enough from us that that's helped you buy a little bit better, maybe delve into a different category that you're not used to, learn to diversify and spread yourself out to a couple of different platforms at least, because that's what we're here for, is to try and help teach you guys a little bit. So we've got Melissa from Vasquez Vintage watching. Hello, dear.
Hello.
She's one of our favorites. Melissa and her wife, Abby, and their son, Jaden, I believe his name is, are huge Instagrammers where they have such a wealth of information. They're two of my favorite Instagram people to follow because their posts are informational and educational. And so if you're not following them, you absolutely should be. I love these girls. So her question is, do you plan to adjust your shipping prices to account for the USPS price increase on the 24th? Or adjust inventory prices? So Katy does free shipping on everything. So chances are, since she has such a high ASP on her items, she's probably not going to make any adjustments at all. And I charge a flat rate shipping fee on most of my items, which does not cover the shipping fee. I charge $3.95 for first class and $6.95 for priority for smaller items. And then I charge usually a flat fee for heavier, bigger items. So it's usually just enough to cover the majority of my shipping costs. I do absorb some of that. I'm probably going to do an increase of $1 on both of my flat rate fees, like $4.95 for first class and then $7.95 for priority. I haven't done it yet, but I've been thinking about doing that this year. When I added shipping about a year and a half ago, I had done free shipping for years and years. When I added shipping a year and a half ago, I did not see any decrease in my sales. There's a few reasons for that. Free shipping is something that's excellent if you are in a saturated market and you're trying to make your listings look better and more attractive for buyers. When you're selling individual items, one-off items, or vintage items, personally, I don't think that it hurts you to charge shipping, because you're probably going to have the only one or one of the only ones of those items. So if your shipping is not exorbitant, your buyer's going to pay it because they want the item and they can't get it anywhere else. It's not like you're going to be last on the search. Like there's only 2 of them on the whole platform. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
well, and I feel this is one of those things where it really depends on your preferences and how you want to approach things. Now, for Vikki, with a lot of the stuff that she sells, a lot of times that whatever item she has listed is probably one of the only ones that's even online on eBay, because she does a lot of hard goods and different things that there might not be a lot of that particular listing. And so clothing is one of those things, one of those categories that's like super, super, super saturated. But I do focus on stuff that's a little bit more unique, with the vintage streetwear and stuff like that. But there still usually are other versions of what I'm selling, even if it's not the exact same one, something similar. And because I price my stuff so high, for me, I would rather have that little bump from having free shipping as far as like what they look at, like on eBay for algorithms for your search results, because I know that being price competitive is one of the things that helps you get a bump in the search. I'm never going to be price competitive. So I've made the choice that I'd rather do free shipping for that little bump. But again, it all depends on like what matters to you and how you want to do it. And it doesn't mean that having free shipping or not having free shipping is the only way that you can do it.
Yeah, I think that too often we try to pigeonhole ourselves into a one-size-fits-all business model. And the reality is that everybody's business is a little bit different. The only time you're going to have a one-size-fits-all is if, like Katy said before, company A sells printer ink at this price point for this particular printer. Company B sells the exact same items at a particular price point.
Yeah.
That's when you're apples to apples. Otherwise, we're pretty much all a little bit different, especially for those of us that sell one-off items.
Yeah. And there was a temporary holiday increase in postage that went back to normal, but now there is going to be the regular, pretty much annual increase that always happens. And I will say it's increasing pretty much everywhere across the board, except
UPS.
except if you use Pirate Ship and you do international shipping, their first class simple export rate is the one thing that's actually, as far as USPS goes, that's the only thing that's actually going down. So if you've been thinking about selling internationally and finally dipping your toe in that,
make sure you're using Pirate Ship.
Make sure you're using Pirate Ship.
The other thing that is not going up is if you do sell heavy items or larger items, UPS is not increasing as of yet.
That's good.
I'm not a huge fan of UPS. I tend to stick more with FedEx, but depending on what FedEx increases look like for me, being on a coastal state and shipping a lot to the East Coast, I may be using UPS more this year. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, let's go ahead and look at our sales highlights for the week. Now you're going to show, I think we're going to jump right into you showing a whole grip of dolls that you sold.
A grip, huh?
Are you going to be commenting on every word I use in my vocab today?
Yes.
Okay. I don't need my words criticized like this, man. You're really harsh and mellow.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. So the last few weeks, you've been showing us lots of creepy dolls and upsetting me greatly emotionally. And now you are going to show us how some of that is starting to pay off. Because, I mean, what, you got how many dolls? Hundreds of dolls.
So I have hundreds of dolls that I picked up from this hoarder house, right? You've seen the videos. You've seen some pictures. It's pretty creepy. I've been showing you the past few weeks several dolls and what they may sell for and what I'm going to list them for. I have only listed about 25 dolls so far overall. I've been doing, it took me 3 days to sort through all the doll clothing as it is. There's thousands of pieces. I've been doing a lot of prep work and cleaning the dolls and getting them dressed in appropriate clothing. And yeah, so it's a lot of prep work. So once they're photographed, they're fairly easy to list. That's the easy part. The listings take me 2 minutes a listing. I'm totally fine with that. But the prep work that's involved has been taking a while. So I only have 25 listed. They've all been listed in the last week. I have sold 6 of them so far for a total of $373. And they've sold on a few different platforms. So I'm going to show you, as you guys know, from this house itself, I have about a quarter invested in each item. I mean, really, I've got thousands of items for $300. If I add in all of my expenses, it was $710 for every single thing, including the labor that I paid to clear out the house and drive and help me. So out of $710, I have already doubled my money just in the minuscule amount of items I have listed. So everything right now is pure profit.
So hundreds of dolls, 25 listed, 6 actually sold. Let's look at these horrible things and see how much money you got for them.
These horrible things.
What you got?
All right. Did you share the screen?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So this is what you see there. This is a 1950s Roxanne Beat the Clock. Beat the Clock was a TV show in the 50s. And this was a doll that was made of the host of the TV show. And again, as you can see, she's not in great condition. Her dress is original. Her hair is a hot mess. But she's a cute doll and she's fairly rare. This actually sold within a couple of days, just rolled into my weekly sale. It sold for $54 plus shipping. And yeah, she's pretty cute. I paid, like I said, about a quarter for all of them.
And I mean, none of these were listed for more than...
No more than a week.
No more than a week.
Everything that I'm listing, I'm pricing competitively to clear them out quickly.
Yeah.
Usually we all know that I'm one that tends to hold out for higher prices. I set my own prices, but when I'm looking at inventory of hundreds and hundreds of items, I don't want to hang on to them. So I'm looking to move them quickly. So if the average sale price on this was $65, I priced it at, right around that.
Yeah. All right. Next.
This is another one so best friend Cynthia doll. This happens to be the one. I had 3 of these dolls. One of them worked. This is the one that worked. Sold for $30 plus shipping. Again, maybe a quarter invested in it.
Look at her groovy dress, man.
She's cute. She's cute.
Let's look at her again.
This is another one that actually sold on Facebook Marketplace. This is the other one. This one does not work. I had actually numbered them in the listing because I had 3 and they all look the same and they all have the same hair and the same outfit. So I wanted to make sure that I knew which was which. So I had the first one, and then I had number 2 and number 3 for no other reason other than that was my own way to indicate the differences between the 3.
So you actually made more money on this one than the one that actually worked, didn't you?
In a way I did, because this one, they paid for shipping for this one. The other one, I lost a couple of dollars on shipping. And Facebook Marketplace has a 5% fee as opposed to eBay's fees. So I made a little bit more money on the one that didn't work than the one that did.
Interesting. Next monster.
This monster.
Thank God it's covered up.
Thank God the face is covered, right?
Yep.
So this one sold for $99 and buyer paid for shipping. This was Macari sale. Again, I paid like a quarter a piece for these. This doll is huge. This doll is 30 inches tall. This doll, I think I showed in our haul video, she had marks all over her face. She was missing a freaking arm. The arm was there, but it was hanging off. The arm needed to be reattached. So anyway, I was pretty happy to sell this hot mess for $99. It just happens to be a rare Madame Alexander doll. So people that are completists or collectors, they don't necessarily care about the condition if the doll is workable. A lot of people will restore dolls.
Interesting. Next.
And this is another one that sold. This is one that looks like a Shirley Temple doll, but is not quite Shirley Temple. This is a vintage composition doll. I had this listed for about $175, and a buyer contacted me and said, I know the brand of this doll, which I did not. I was not able to figure out what it was, but she figured out what it was. She actually collects this particular doll. And once she told me what it was, I actually went and did a little bit of comparison by the name, and I found that it probably wasn't going to sell for the $175. Most would be around $125. So she offered me $100. And again, I have a quarter invested in these dolls. I was like, yeah, I'll take $100. She paid shipping. I got it out of the house.
And I think this is the last one for dolls.
This is the last doll lot. This was one, if you sell these dolls individually, they sell anywhere from $15 to $30 a piece. Now, I could have broken them out and sold them individually. Again, I'm trying to sell these quickly enough to get them out of the house. So I listed them very quickly as a grouping in a lot, and they sold for $60. A buyer had made me an offer. They sold for $60. Buyer paid shipping. They sold within 24 hours of being listed, out the door.
Nice. Bam, bam, bam. All right, first one for me is this Oregon Duck sweatshirt. This is what I got. I picked this up a few weeks ago at yesterday's fits. It was actually when I was making the boxes, the resale boxes, and I got a ton of stuff. And I actually got like a few different Oregon Duck sweatshirts. And these sweatshirts are like really small too, because they're like they're vintage. I mean, I put the measurements up and everything. They're very small sweatshirts. And this one, it's got it's got Joe Duck, which is the Joe Cool Snoopy Peanuts character. But Ducks football especially is super, super popular. So it sold for the price you see there, $97.99. I actually paid $10 for the sweatshirt, paid $10, sold it for $97.99. It was only listed for, I think, maybe a couple of days, because I've had it for a few weeks, but I just got it listed this last week. But yeah, and you're going to see, I'm actually going to be showing you several items that sold this week, and even stuff that I have in my haul. But a lot of the sports stuff, this team sports from schools and professional, they sell really, really well. And I feel like it's another one of those things that's always underpriced. And maybe people just think there's so much of it out there that it won't demand a higher price, but I find that it does. And this one sold very, very quickly for $100 out of 10. So, yes.
I have to say, Jacob making a joke about the Roxanne doll is pretty funny. He's got, Roxanne, you don't have to use a butcher knife tonight.
She probably will, though. She's that kind of evil. All right, you just got these. This came from that same. Didn't these come from the same?
No, I actually got these from the bins.
Oh, that's right. That's
one of my 2 trips to the bins. I had actually picked up 3, but one of them didn't really go with this lot, and it didn't really look as nice and was missing more things, so I kind of chucked it. So overall, I probably paid $3 for these from the bins. I held out for the price. As you can see, they have some damage. They're from the late 50s, early 60s. It's gravel art, but they're very kitschy. They're very super mid-century modern as far as decor, and they're really cute. So I held out for pricing. I had a lot of watchers. I even had a lot of offers on them, but I paid about $3 or $4 total, and they sold for the price you see there, $144, plus the buyer paid for shipping, and they got them a few days ago, so I haven't heard anything back, but I'm assuming they're okay. Mm-hmm. It was a pretty good sale. I like them.
Very nice. Very cool. All right, next up is this Wes Craven. Oh, you scared? Who's scared now?
That one's pretty creepy.
Wes Craven Presents Wishmaster. This is one of the good movies that is a Wes Craven Presents, because he didn't actually direct it. This is a 1997 horror movie, and if you remember, I got this shirt in a raffle. It's something that a lot of the vintage streetwear guys do, these raffles where they'll have some really cool t-shirt, and they, you basically pay for spots. And this one, it was like $20. He had $10, $20 spots. And then he picks a winner, and I won this. So I paid $20 for it for my spot and won this. And I actually took an offer for $200. I wanted to get some sales moving. So I took an offer for $200, and it went to Canada. So they paid for shipping. So I actually made some decent money on this, but I only paid $20 for it. And I don't do those raffles a lot.
That dude is creepy as heck.
As heck. Oh, that's a nice word. Anyway, I don't do those raffles often. I've only actually done them twice. So
and both times you won, right?
No, I did not.
Oh.
So I've only done them twice. The other time I did a $20 one as well. So I might as well say I put $40 into this and got $200 for it. But it's kind of one of those things, like you don't want to do it all the time, but if you win, it's pretty awesome. And I was definitely holding out for I wanted minimum $200. So when somebody offered me $200, I jumped on it right away. But just a cool horror t-shirt, I think.
It is a cool one.
All right, next.
So these actually came from my buyout of the clothing vault. So this is just a pair of vintage army pants. They're worn. You can see in the seat there's a little bit of wear on them. They've been worn. They are worn. They're from the 50s. They're dated. And they sold for the price that you see there, $104 plus shipping. And military clothing does very well, especially if you take the time to try and identify it. This one wasn't too hard because it actually had the date on it. But military clothing in general has coding inside. And depending on what branch of the military, there are several websites that will help you identify what the item is called, but also what year it's from. So if you can actually put in when something is from, like this in the 50s, there was not a war specifically going on at that time, but World War II clothing and Vietnam dated clothing is actually very desirable. Especially World War II. The older, the better.
Apparently your dad says that your mom's trying to figure out how to make room in her doll display case.
No.
Vikki says no. All right, so let's go to the next one.
No, you're right, Tommy. It is a bit of a weird green. I did not take these photos, to be fair, but it is a little bit washed out. But it is a much lighter than the normal, you think of like army green. It's a little bit lighter.
Yeah. All right, next up is this War of the Gargantuas t-shirt. Now, this is interesting. We talked a little bit last week. Vikki had that Hawaiian shirt, or that tiki shirt that she hadn't, or not shirt, sorry. It was a blazer that she had not looked up, and then it sold really fast, and she realized that it went for a lot more. And so there's a whole discussion about like being able to comp vintage. And the reality is that, yeah, vintage can be difficult to comp because you're not always going to be able to find the exact thing. So there comes a lot of nuance and instinct that plays along with how you can potentially comp vintage or get an idea of what you might be able to sell something for. And this shirt is a really good example because it is not a shirt that you are going to find. At least I couldn't find one at all. And I didn't spend too much time looking because I knew it was a unique shirt. So it's kind of a matter of like, okay, well, why might somebody pay up for something like this? And so this particular one is a 1966 Japanese kaiju movie, which is like kind of, their monster movie stuff. But this particular movie has been very influential in other people's work, like Quentin Tarantino, Guillermo del Toro, in Kill Bill, and in Pacific Rim. And so I took a chance, and I was like, you know what? It's a 90s vintage t-shirt, but it has some meaning to somebody who might be a huge fan of either of those directors or kaiju movies in general. And I priced it up super high. And I've had it for a few months, but I've had some interest. And I sent out an offer for $215. And somebody accepted and they paid for it. So I sold this t-shirt. I paid it came in a group of other t-shirts. I paid $20 for it. And I sold it for $215. And again, there's absolutely no way to comp this shirt or even the style of shirt. It's really just a matter of, I decided I could sell it for a lot and I did. So I guess I don't know what else to say about that, but it's just the way it is, right? I mean, what do you think?
Sometimes you've got to make up your own pricing.
Pretty much.
Perceived value, right?
Exactly. And maybe it would have sat forever and I never would have sold it. And I would have ended up taking an offer for $30 5 years from now. Hopefully not. But I still sold it for $215. So I'm pretty stoked about it.
So I did make a post on Instagram, and I know that not everybody follows me on Instagram. So if you've already seen this, I apologize. But this actually sold This sold pretty quickly. I had these listed for about 2 weeks. I think that we have heard through other sellers, if not from myself, that the 7 for All Mankind jeans, particularly the dojo style, DOJO dojo style, is a bolo. So that's something you want to keep an eye out for. For the most part, 7 for All Mankind jeans, I leave them on the rack. They're virtually worthless. They're hard to sell, or you'll maybe get $20, $25 for them. But the dojo style is definitely go-to. And the first indication of dojo is that pattern on the back pocket, kind of like that big 7. So those, they come in a couple of different styles. But of the dojo style jeans, those are usually the $45 range, the standard ones. But dojo untailored, I don't necessarily know what untailored means, other than the fact that it has a wider cuff at the bottom and they're super long. Like these are like 37-inch inseam. For a woman, that's ridiculous. So these particular jeans, once I got them home, I bought them thinking they're the standard dojo and they were going to be $45 jeans, and I was happy with that. But once I realized what the style was, that they were the untailored style, they actually sell anywhere from $90 to like $125. So the fact that the dojo jeans sold for $90 on Poshmark in a full price sale in about a week was huge. So just so you know, there are specific dojo jeans that are going to sell for more than others, specifically the untailored style.
And I'm sorry that, normally when we're looking at like eBay and Etsy sales, we're able to look through like the pictures and stuff. But unfortunately, because this one is Poshmark, you can't look at the pictures, but maybe go do, I guess, a search on eBay to try to see other examples of which ones sell for a lot or don't. All right, next up, I have a grouping of a couple of shirts here. I sold 2 more shirts from my big bulk buy I did from Barry. And if you remember last week, I had bought, back in early or late October, early November, I bought 36 rocker tees from the 80s and 90s for $2,000. So that was about a price of about $55 per shirt. And as of last week, with 11 t-shirts sold, I was past the break-even point, and everything after that was going to be making me money. And so this week I sold this striper t-shirt. So again, I paid $55 for it. This one I sold for $150, which is great because I had sent out multiple offers to buyers for $125. I was willing to take $125 for this particular shirt. You can see that it's got some staining on it. And so when somebody offered me $150, I always love it when I get an offer for more than what I would have taken. And this is one that it had more significant staining, and I actually went ahead and just bleached the crap out of it. These sleeves were darker when I got it, but you can see how it's like the sleeves are kind of grayish now. But I think it was worth it because it got out more yellowing, and I think it was better to look like this than to have more significant staining on it. So you kind of have to take that risk or decide what you want to do when you're bleaching stuff. But again, I bought this for $55, sold it for $150. Okay, so the next one, also from that grouping of t-shirts, this is a Van Halen t-shirt. This one is just destroyed. This t-shirt is worn so thin. You can see holes. You can see these holes here. You can see the bleach marks, the copywriting there, but you can see it's bleached. It's got holes. You can see the hem is coming undone.
That is a hot mess t-shirt.
It is a hot mess. Also, you can see that this is from 1988, and talking about single bit stitch versus double stitch, very common in like the late 80s, early 90s, is this double stitch on the bottom. Let me see. It's kind of coming undone, so it's hard to see. But all the way over to the right, all the way over here, you can see it's double stitched, but it's actually single stitched up on the sleeve. Anyway, so this shirt just absolutely destroyed. I have it priced crazy high because this particular shirt is just not as common. You're not going to see this one anywhere for the most part. And somebody offered me $390. Now, I've sent out offers on this for I think the lowest I've gone is $325. So again, when that offer came up on my phone for $390, I was like, yeah. And this is the one where I had a 0 sales day, and all of a sudden I got an offer for $390. Then I'm like, okay, let's see if they're actually going to pay for it. And right as I'm thinking that to myself, all of a sudden it comes up that they're in Canada, so they pay for shipping as well. $390, guys. I paid $55 for it. So I've had a pretty good week with more of those Barry shirts. And I've sold 13 of them, and I've still got 23 left.
It's crazy.
23 left. So
right, like I know you said,
I was doing the math in my head. here, man.
You're asking me for confirmation. I didn't keep track.
Yeah. Anyway, super cool Van Halen t-shirt. Sold it for $3.90. So I'm pretty stoked about it. All right, next one for you.
This was another good priced sale on Poshmark. I had this listed for less than a week. I had purchased a large lot of designer clothing from a friend of mine on the East Coast. She actually shipped everything to me in a big box, and it was all beautiful high-end St. John clothing. And this is St. John Evening, which is the most expensive line of St. John clothing. And I have about $20 invested in each item. So like $20 I paid for each piece. So I'm willing to let it go for a little bit more. Had I held out for this item on eBay, I probably would have held out for around 150 or so, but I received an offer for $130 on Poshmark within a day or two of having it listed. The fact that anybody on Poshmark offered me something more than $100, I almost fell off my chair because Poshmark is notoriously full of cheapskates. So I was pretty happy to take $130. Again, I have $20 invested in it. It was listed less than a week. I am trying to learn to let go of items for a little bit less money in order to clear my inventory out faster. Yep. That has not normally been the way that I do business, but with an inventory approaching well over 4,000 items, it's going to have to be space is a little bit more of a premium these days. So
absolutely.
And there I'm going. So here we go. $130 from 20 to 130. Yeah, that collar on the St. John is gorgeous, Kara. I agree. St. John is, for rich middle-aged ladies that lunch. That's if you want to know what the demographic is for St. John clothing, it's like the lower end of, you picture old ladies wearing Chanel suits. So when they can't afford Chanel, they're going to buy St. John. It's not something that most anybody in my age bracket would wear usually, but it came from a wealthy friend in Rhode Island.
Very cool. All right, next up is this University of Hawaii rainbows. I think I showed this last week or the week before, probably the week before. I got this from the last time I went to Yesterday's Fits, which was like 3 weeks ago. And this one I'm telling you guys, anytime I don't find it very often, I'm assuming because it's the University of Hawaii. So you're not going to find a lot of it on the mainland maybe. But anytime I find University of Hawaii rainbow stuff, I always grab it, and it always sells for good prices. So I always snatch that up. I believe I paid like $35 for this.
That's a cute sweatshirt. I like that one.
Yeah, I love the colors on it.
I would wear that.
Now, Hawaii rainbows, they used to be called Hawaii rainbows. Now they're called the Hawaii Warriors. But just a really, really cool sweatshirt. And like I was saying, about anything like college sports or professional, it just does really well. And this one, I don't think I had it listed more than like a week. If that, and I did not have a sale going for this particular item. So $99.99. It sold for $100. I paid, like I said, like $35 for it, sold it for $100, but I knew this was going to sell quickly.
That's a nice sweatshirt.
Yeah, it's just really cool.
I would have snagged that from you if I had seen it. So Alana says you could try St. John for Dog Show group. I'm actually in that group. And I have cross-posted my St. John stuff there because I use List Perfectly to cross-post my listings all the way across to Facebook Marketplace in general. I just actually check off that group as an additional group to specifically post my St. John items in.
Interesting.
I haven't had any bites yet, but I've had some likes, so we'll see.
Very, very cool. All right, next up for you, this is your last one.
This is my last one. I don't know why it looks like this.
Sorry, because I didn't click on this.
Yeah, so this is just a vintage music box that I had picked up at Savers. I think I maybe paid $4 for it. It's in good shape with the exception of, if you go back up to that second photo, you can see that it's missing. It used to have a triangle mirror there, a little tiny mirror. It's like maybe 2x3. And the other thing is that the top of the leatherette case has some denting in it. So it's not in perfect condition, but if someone is looking for a nostalgic piece, which most of my vintage stuff is nostalgic, the music box portion of it does work, and it has the dancing couples that turn around. It's like they're doing a waltz, and it plays music, and it's velvet lined. It's really cute. So again, like I paid $5 or $6 for it, and it sold on Etsy. It wasn't listed very long, maybe 10 days. It sold for $69.95 plus the buyer paid shipping. They paid $15 shipping on it.
Very, very nice. Very, very nice. All right. Last two things I'm going to show, again, talking about professional sports stuff like that, or college. Both of those do really well. And condition is not something that's going to keep you from being able to sell something. If it's, it's got to be like the right look. There's certain kinds of staining or wear that people are totally down with. As you guys know, this particular sweatshirt I got from yesterday's fits. I paid $10 for it, and it is beat to hell. I swear there's not a lot. I feel like there's not a lot of San Antonio Spurs stuff available on eBay and on some of these platforms. But you can't really see it as well.
Look at that.
Sold,
but
there's like major holes in the cuffs and the sleeves. It's super worn, just thrashed. And I sold this for $69. And it sold like,
and you put there condition, pre-owned, worn and faded, destroyed, thrashed.
I make it really clear what they're getting. It's even in the title, it's destroyed. And so I think I had this listed a day and it sold. Went really fast. So I sold for $69 on Mercari. Man, somebody who said something about Mercari's sales just trickling in, and it's totally true. Like Mercari is like definitely my very last platform I pay attention to. I mean, I cross post everything I can cross post to it daily, but it really does not bring in significant sales for me, but occasionally it does okay. And so like this week I sold this, and I also sold this Phoenix Suns hoodie, another thing I got from yesterday's fits. I paid $20 for this, and it's in really nice condition. So I think 20 was like actually a really good price for it. And I had this listed for maybe a couple of days, and somebody made me an offer, and I knew I would definitely take this amount on another platform. So I sold it for $80. So I paid 20 for it, sold it for 80. It's just a nice little hoodie for Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns stuff seems to sell really well. But yeah, anything vintage, any 90s, I mean 80s too, but 90s like sweatshirts and hoodies and stuff like that for colleges and professional sports. Seriously, if you can get good prices on them, you should definitely be picking them up because they're always going to sell. Always, always, always.
So, Christine says in the chat, and I agree with you. I joke about the market and the target market for St. John clothing. But the reality is that I was a mortgage broker for 15 years. If I were still in the mortgage business, St. John clothing is probably what I would be wearing. So people in real estate, legal professionals, lawyers, that type of thing. Any woman that needs to be taken seriously in a business attire. So it's probably something that I would be wearing if I were still in that business. I would not have my pink hair, and I would be wearing a suit. I used to wear suits. I used to wear Casper or Ann Taylor or, Lord & Taylor. And, at that time, that was what you wore in the 90s and early 2000s. And now I'm not in that world anymore. And I'm grateful that I don't have to wear that crap.
See, I feel like now that your mom and dad are watching our show, we might be instigating some infighting, because now apparently your mom is clearing out more space to add more dolls to her doll cabinets. And your dad is now using our words to make a case for why he gets to hang on to his worn out clothing.
Yeah, listen, none of what you have, except for your old Eddie Bauer stuff, is worth.
Don't be rude.
Is worth hanging on to.
But the point is that worn out, faded, holy, it's cool, it's hip, it's in. Jim is just trying to keep up with the youngins, okay?
It's true.
It's totally cool if he's got some worn out stuff. Believe me, Jim, Vikki tries to throw away t-shirts of mine when they get super holy. So it's a never-ending battle here. It's true. Anyway, so those are our sales highlights for the week, and then we're going to jump into doing our haul. Mm-hmm. I went to yesterday's fits on Tuesday. I spent a few hours there. I spent about $1,000, but I came home with 2 IKEA bags, like bulging, overflowing. I think I got 75 items for about $1,000, so roughly around $13 per item. It's really cool. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. He's really transformed the store. If you are in the Vegas area, I definitely recommend going and checking it out, because Jesse has added he has like a $5 section. He has all of his really good stuff is on like wooden hangers, but then he has like all these ones with plastic hangers, and he has them color coded, which is really, really smart because it's easy.
$5, $10.
Yeah, he's got $5, $10, and $20. And it's really cool. It's kind of cool because he's got like this rack that he puts his hangers on after the stuff sells. And so he knows like if it's a good day, depending on like how full it is of those colored hangers. Because a lot of the people, because they're right by the college here, the university. And so he's getting like a lot of regular people, and especially youngins. Oh, speaking of which, this last time when I was in there, I was telling Vikki this, there were these 2 girls that were probably like around 18. and they're like chitty chatting while they're shopping. And one of them says to the other one, she's like, yeah, I've heard that music before because my grandpa listens to Nirvana and Metallica. And she starts talking about her grandpa. And I told Vikki that, and she's full of sadness now. I love it. I love it.
Old.
Anyway.
So Alana, yesterday's Fitz is actually near UNLV.
Yeah, it's like right on Maryland.
Maryland Parkway.
Yeah, close to
Tropicana and Maryland.
Yep. So it's just a really cool place. You should definitely, Lisa, you should definitely go check it out just to see it, because it's just a really cool shop. They're good kids. As resellers, we should be super impressed. You know, we've talked about them before, Jesse and Austin. They're youngins. They're both in their early 20s. They have a really successful brick and mortar business and online business. And it's because they work super, super hard. And they're some of my favorite youngins in the biz today.
They are great kids. I call them kids. Sorry, guys. Sometimes they watch the show. Not kids, but kids in my world. My daughter's 28.
They're younger than your kids.
So they're younger than my kid. They hustle, and we love watching their growth as they get bigger and
absolutely
do well.
Very, very cool. Okay, so anyway, so I bought a bunch of stuff from them, and then you have some cool stuff. I don't think you're showing us any dolls, but you got some toys,
no dolls,
and some doll clothes, and some kids' clothes, which normally most people who sell clothes say, I won't touch kids' clothes at all. I know I stay away from kids' clothes, but guess what, guys? For some people, it's bread and butter, but some kids' clothes, depending on what it is, can sell for $100, $200, $300. You know higher?
No, it's probably about
so Vikki has
with
some,
what I have.
Vikki has some vintage, not just doll stuff, vintage kids stuff that can go for $300 even. So I think that's pretty exciting.
So am I going to go first?
Yeah, go
first. All right. So I just wanted to briefly talk about, like, I had been showing you a whole bunch of vintage dolls starting from the early turn of the 20th century up through the 70s or so. And I wanted to say that it's not just dolls that sell really well. Nostalgia, 80s and 90s stuffed animals and things like that also sell well, because kids from the 80s and 90s are like, you know, Katy's age and my daughter's age, and not my age, but Katy's age anyway. And nostalgia sells. So people like to buy things that remind them of their childhood. So again, these are items that I picked up in the doll haul. They're not huge items, but they're definitely bread and butter in the toy industry. So if you want to look for things in the 80s or 90s, generally speaking, they're easier for you to identify than the vintage dolls, because they're almost always going to have tags on them. So, like, for example, this is just a Sesame Street. We all know this dude
Walk
right
and
here.
Talk.
1997 Tycho Sesame Street Walk and Talk Big Bird. If he works, and I have not tested him yet, he's got these little, like, they look like roller skates, but I think they're supposed to be sneakers with a Velcro on them. Yep, Velcro. Don't put Velcro in the title. But anyway, this guy sells for about $40 if he's working, and I've got about a quarter in him, so he's, you know, it's a pretty good price for a stuffed animal. This is another electronic from the early 90s. This is Blue's Clues. This is Blue, Running Blue. And I think it says, come here, Blue. So he runs, his little legs run.
Cute.
This will sell, if this is working, this is going to sell for about $75. So I'm pretty happy. I don't have a problem spending a quarter and listing something for, you know, 30, 40, $75. This is the other one for those of us that watched Lamb Chop. Lamb Chop, it was an early show with Sherry Lewis, but Lamb Chop actually came back in the 90s with a huge resurgence. And this was one from the 90s. This is Charlie Horse. He is a puppet from the Lamb Chop series. And just him by himself will sell for about $40 as well.
Ridiculous.
So again, like, I paid a quarter a piece for these guys. So that's it for the toys that I decided to show this week. I just wanted to grab a few that were just kind of like bread and butter staples. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is I just showed a piece, and I have showed them several times in the past, of St. John clothing. So, you know, I have this suit that I just listed. I purchased this for about $20. It was $20 an item from my friend that sold me all these clothing. So this is, again, their St. John Evening, which is one of the higher end labels. St. John has 4 or 5 different labels, and they're just different quality levels and different price lines. This is probably the most expensive of the St. John lines. And this is St. John Couture. And I just wanted to show you what the label looked like. So this is a current suit. This suit is probably only a few years old, but I have the blazer. And again, it's very middle-aged lady, very well made, but beautiful clothing. So I have this blazer and I have the skirt. The skirt still has the tag on it, and the skirt alone has a retail price of $645. The blazer was probably $1,000. So it's a $1,600 suit. I paid $20 for it. I sold it for, I have it listed. I'm trying to get focus on the tag so you can see what it looks like. There you go. I have it listed in my store for about $600, and I'll probably sell it for like $400 to $500.
Crazy.
You've got to think that when you're selling something online, you're only going to get a fraction of the retail price. So even if something has a high retail price, it's not necessarily worth buying if it's not worth reselling. Not everything is worth reselling, but for $20, any line of St. John is worth picking up. And this one will be a good return when it actually sells.
Mm-hmm. It's like when you go to Burlington and they have like the resale, or they have the retail pricing on something, and it's like a jacket for $795, and it's like, good luck selling for $50. So you don't just because you find something with a price tag on it does not mean it's going to be worth that much. But obviously St. John's is very desirable. And
that suit actually does give a Chanel vibe. You're right. It does, because it's that boucle knit, which is very
boucle.
Very Chanel-esque, very, very much what Chanel is. It's like a signature look. And Emily Gilmore, very Emily Gilmore for my other fellow Gilmore Girls fans. I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan. Love it. And Alana, yes, St. John Bay is not the same thing. Nope. St. John's Bay is the cheap ass JCPenney brand. That's almost totally never different. Worth picking up at all. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even list it if it's free most of the time. So this is the other line, one of the other lines of St. John that I want to talk about. St. John Basics. This is one of the moderate priced lines. It's a little bit lower end. And this is a blazer. It's a soft semi-structured blazer. It means that it's a knit. And this is their signature Santana knit, which is just basically, it's a thick woven, it's a tightly woven sweater type material. And it's semi-structured because it has shoulder pads. And then it's a longer length hip. It's going to hit the hips as far as a blazer goes. So this fits nice over a pair of slacks.
Yeah, wear it with a pair of slacks, everybody.
The thing about St. John is the more elaborate the buttons on them, the more, that's another indicator. So the more elaborate the buttons, the more expensive the piece. The higher end pieces have beautiful detailing and buttons. This is just a basic, what am I doing here? I hate going backwards on this stupid thing. Just a basic gold button. So, and this piece will still probably sell for at least $100, $125, even because of what it is.
Ridiculous.
Do you want to do a few more?
Do you want me to do it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to do some?
Yeah. All right.
I'll show you some clothing next, more of the doll clothes, kids clothes stuff.
Yeah. So remember, I bought like 75 items, roughly about $13 a piece, but it was varying price points. But like I was saying, with showing you guys the solds, I always pick up like the sports teams and different things like that. And because he has somebody picking for him in Denver, I'm getting a lot of stuff from like the Denver area, which is fine because Denver Broncos sells really well. This one is relatively small, but it's actually, I think it's a really cool graphic on it. And it's got really nice even fade across the whole thing.
What am I looking at here? What's that?
Is that like a stain right there? Mm-hmm. Maybe a little dark spot. That's fine. It's just like a wear.
It's wear.
It's
a rub.
So it actually doesn't. It looks like that when you're looking at it right now, but it doesn't show up that dark. But
you can't even see it in the photos.
Yeah, but I've shown it. I've shown the pictures. There's like some really thin areas. It's like if you look really close, you can see. Anyway, so this one's actually a really small one, which I actually like because
I'm not shirking away because she has actually washed and processed all of these items already. They're all photographed, washed.
Mm-hmm. But I actually really like the graphic on this. I think it's really cool.
It's cool with the neon.
And I think I should be able to, it's kind of a neon puffy thing going on. I should be able to get like $60 for this. And this one I think I paid like maybe $10 for. But I even pick up like kind of basic stuff like, this is a Minnesota Vikings sweatshirt's in really good condition. What I love about this is like, it looks like you would look at it and go, oh, that's probably like vintage 90s. You look at the date on it. It's actually 2001, guys. And guess what? It's 2021. So this is officially, according to Etsy, this is considered vintage. So 2001 stuff, I can go ahead and list on Etsy.
So if 2001 is considered vintage, am I considered antique on Etsy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely. You are really, really effing old. Okay.
Just checking.
So again, this one, I think I paid like, $15 for.
Sweet.
This one I paid up for. I actually paid $30 for this because it was not on one of his markdown racks. But this is from Super Bowl 24, 1990. This is San Francisco 49ers versus the Denver Broncos. But it's just a really cool sweatshirt.
Broncos.
Yep, but the 49ers actually won this year. So this is like a good sweatshirt for a 49ers fan to buy. I think they're the ones that won this year. For the 49ers fan to buy because they can, it's really just like rubbing some salt in the wounds of any Denver fans they come across. But just a really cool sweatshirt. It was New Orleans. This is on the Fruit of the Loom tag. Now, this sweatshirt was probably actually made like an 89, but this Fruit of the Loom tag, I've talked about it before. You will actually see this one on late 80s stuff as well as early mid 90s. But yeah, bought this for like 30. I'll probably try to sell this for like 100, but take 75, something like that. Then I love anything. I
like that one.
I love hockey stuff. This one's got like a really nice worn out even fade. This is one that like it had pilling all over it. So I got it for a lot cheaper. Actually, I think I paid like $10 for this. It had pilling. So I just had to take the sweater shaver to it. It had some marks on it that I was able to wash out. It still has some marks on it, but this is actually an international hockey league, IHL. This is like the minor leagues that usually feeds into like a bigger, like an NHL team. I haven't listed this yet. I don't remember what team they're actually a feeder team for. And actually, I don't know, Minnesota Moose, somebody can help me out. Are they an actual team anymore? I can't remember. But I love hockey stuff, and I'll probably try to sell this one for like $70 as well. We'll see. And then I got some cool cool t-shirts, everybody. Here's one that I did pay up for. I think I paid $60 for this. This is actually a Japanese hard rock kind of heavy metal hair band.
Loudness.
Yeah, Loudness. This t-shirt's from 1986. You can see it says Loudness on the front.
Super rare, by the way. Loudness merchandise is very hard to find. If you are a rock fan, and I know at least Frankie is in there, and I know Jacob as well. I just don't know if you're into Japanese metal, but Loudness is a fantastic band, and they're not super mainstream. So I think you're going to get good money for that.
So I haven't done any research on this. So a lot of times, I'm more likely to do comp work than Vikki is when I'm actually listing. But when I'm out buying, I don't look stuff up. Some of it I just kind of know, like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get really good money for that. It depends on how much I'm paying for something, but I didn't bother looking this up at all. I know enough to know that it should sell well. But I will be looking it up. But I think I paid $60 for this particular shirt. And it's in really, really good condition. It says, actually doesn't have a label on it. I think it's like 19.5 across the chest. So it's like a size medium, a good size medium. And so this should sell really well.
Frankie and I saw Loudness.
Back to Japan.
It might. Frankie and I saw Loudness at M3 a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think I'll probably price this pretty
more
high.
Than a few years ago now.
Again, depending on what else is listed out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if this went back to Japan.
Yeah, it's going to sell for at least 100. I think you should price that closer to the 250 range. I think you'll do very well with it.
Yep. And then again, lots of stuff from the Denver area. So here's her really cool 80s Denver Broncos t-shirt. They would call them. They had the whole like crush defense that they would do. So this particular one's like a play on Rushmore when it says Crushmore.
Oh, it's terrible.
And Denver defense.
It's that super thin, soft type of t-shirt material when they're vintage. I love it.
Crazy bright orange. This is from 1986. I think I paid like maybe $15 for this.
No tag in the Loudness shirt, but it is single stitch, you said, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Single stitch, and it has the copyright on it, so it is from 1986. But this one, like all of his $20 t-shirts, because I'm buying in volume, all the $20 ones I get for $15. So I think this was one of the $15 ones, but it's in really good condition. Really cool shirt.
Yeah, it was 2012 was the last time I went to M3, which is a music festival in Rockville, somewhere in Maryland. And that was the last show.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the last show I saw with Frankie, actually.
Yeah. This is a really cool Colorado
anyway.
all over print. It's got, you can just see it's got like bears and it looks like elk and different animals on it and trees.
Oliver Prince.
Just nature-y. This was one of the ones that I think was on the $10 rack. So I paid $10 for this. But this is a vintage.
My dad says the Denver Broncos shirt is like a traffic control shirt. It's so orange. Denver traffic control.
It's true. This one I'll probably sell. Like I'll probably price this one at $69.99. One of my price points, but be willing to sell it for as low as $50 when I do offers and stuff like that. Let me show one more, and then I'll pass it back over to you. This is one of the cooler ones I'm excited about. I think I paid probably $40 for this one.
We have one watcher that is a huge Looney Tunes fan and Looney Tunes motorcycle fan too. I'm not sure if she's watching today. I think it's her husband that likes them.
Actually, I think I paid $30 for this one. This is a really good Looney Tunes one. Looney Tunes in general is really popular. This is a really cool biker one. And you've got Tasmanian Devil on the front of it, right in the front and center. And he's one of the more popular characters. You got Bugs Bunny, you got Wile E. Coyote, you got Yosemite Sam, you got Sylvester on there and Daffy Duck. Or no, wait, is that Sylvester? Or is that's Sylvester right there. Mm-hmm. And then some of the other characters, if you go further back on the back of it, because you can see they're the ones like way behind.
Marvin Marchant, Pepe Le Pew, Elmer Fudd, and again, more Yosemite Sam, which Yosemite Sam stuff is pretty hard to find with Looney Tunes, but he's a real popular character. Yep.
And so this is a really cool double-sided Warner Brothers Looney Tunes 1993 t-shirt in really good condition, really good size. It's on the Toltex tag, and it's an extra large. So this one I will definitely list for. I'll probably list it for like $150 with the hopes of getting minimum $100 for it, just because of the graphics.
My biscuits are burning.
The graphics and the content. But all right, go ahead. We'll pass it back over to you.
So this is the last batch that I'm going to do today. I will have more dolls for you, more creepy dolls for you next week as I process. But one of the things I want to talk about is doll clothing and kid clothing. And sometimes they're one and the same. So when you purchase vintage dolls, a lot of times they're not going to be in their original clothing. And when they're not in their original clothing, people have put doll clothes on them. And this is the case with the clothing or people clothes. Yeah, sorry. They put little baby or toddler clothing on the dolls. So that's the case with a lot of the doll clothing that I purchased. Again, we know, I think I've said before, there are 10 trash bags stuffed full of doll clothes. Crazy. If I could tell you how much clothing that is.
She was ready to cry a few times. I think you got through the very first bag, and when you realized like the volume of stuff just in that
because
first
when
bag,
you think of squishing,
it was so overwhelming.
I was ready to pick up the bags and just throw them away, and I'm really glad I didn't do that because I'm not selling everything individually. Don't get me wrong. I'm not crazy. But there are some things that are absolutely worth selling individually. So what I did was I took these 10 bags of doll clothes and I sorted them based on the doll size, the clothing size. So toddler size, 18-inch doll size, Barbie doll size, 8-inch doll sizes, that type of thing.
You probably threw out at least 2 bags
threw out
worth,
probably
right?
2 bags worth that were stained or torn or handmade and crappy handmade. Handmade doll clothes do still sell for good money, but they have to be well made, halfway decent. I mean, this was like looks like I made it and I can't sew a button. So anyway, in this type of clothing, a lot of what I found was, again, these came from one specific woman that was a huge hoarder. So what I found a lot of were these really frilly toddler dresses from the 60s that are super popular, 60s, 70s, early 80s, but these are mostly from the 60s. And these are super popular, not only for doll collectors, but for pageants. These are the type of dresses that sell for baby pageants and toddler pageants, moms that want their kids to be in these super frilly, girly things. You can't really find these types of clothes at the store, so they pay up for them. So for example, we've got this super frilly dress. It's made in a nylon material. It's made like, it feels like nightgown, vintage 70s nightgown negligee material. And they're multiple layers. So it's a big poofy skirt and a big bow in the back. And most of them are unbranded. So it's not necessarily about the brand at all. It's more about the style. So this type of super frilly dress, I will probably sell this for $200. And it's
crazy.
It's a toddler size dress. And it's like a 2T. So they'd wear this with the little ruffle butt underwear under them, little ruffle butt panties to go over the diaper, or if, hopefully the toilet trained, I don't know, but about $200 for a dress like this.
That's crazy.
And I'm just going to show you a few of them that I found. And this one is not quite as puffy and doesn't have quite as many layers. And this is a little smaller. So this would be a minimum $100, the same type of dress. Another one. This one would probably be somewhere in the $75 to $100 range. Again, it's all the pretty multiple layers on them.
So you'll list these as kids,
I'm going to list
dresses?
Yes, they'll be listed in the toddler and infant and baby doll clothing section. This is another one. And this one I was able to find the matching hat because it actually has a tag and the hat matches the tag. Again, this is probably about a $200 dress, especially because of the little bonnet and little hat.
Crazy. Crazy, you guys.
This one's simple. So this would probably be, I would probably list this for like 50 to 75.
I feel like, there's so many kids' clothes out there and there's so much of it that's not worth anything. I feel like if you were somebody who actually has some level of expertise about what sells, you could make so much money. Because I imagine it like most estate sales and stuff like that, where there's kids' clothing, nobody's grabbing it.
Not even just estate sales. This is the type of stuff that nobody is looking for in the thrift store. Nobody. Yeah. There are very few people that are looking for these types of clothes in the thrift store. I don't. I skip the kids' clothes. Now, if I'm stuck somewhere and I have time, I might peruse and look for something like this. You don't find them very often, but they're there. This one is not quite as frilly, but still, again, same time frame. And this is probably like a $50 dress or so. Mm-hmm. This is one that actually has a brand. So this woman that owned all these dolls and dresses and stuff, so much of what she has like Deseret Industries, the thrift store chain has Deseret Industries tags. So she paid $1 for this, and then she shoved it somewhere. I don't know why she held on to everything, but this is a brand that you would actually want to look for the brand itself. This particular brand is pretty common. And once I started going through these clothes, I was able to find probably 10 or 15 with this brand. And the brand is called Brian with a Y. And these are vintage. Again, this one's probably closer to not quite 60s or 70s. This one's probably like an early 80s type thing. And, I may not sell every one individually. I may find a couple of dresses that I'll go by the same brand name and the same size and sell them as a lot. But again, this is still a $50 to $75 dress. And this is more of a pinafore style. So they would wear this over something else. And then this is the last one that was very similar to the first couple that I showed with the multi-layers, the fluffy layers on the bottom.
Fluffy.
I used to dress my daughter as a very, very girly girl when she was little. I loved putting dresses and bonnets on her, and a lot of people still like that. It's not something that you find in the stores these days. And again, this is more for pageants or for people that like to dress up dolls. The same people that collect dolls like to dress the dolls. And this is another $100 dress. So, of the things that I just showed you that I probably paid $25 a piece for, I think that was 10 dresses that are going to go from $100 to $200 a piece. So there are a couple for $50. So $1,000 in doll clothes right there.
Baby clothes.
Baby clothes.
Ridiculous. Mm-hmm. That's what I say. Anything else? That's it?
That's it. They're pageant dresses. Put the word pageant in them. Put toddler, baby, doll. Put all of those things. And yeah, they're pageant dresses. So they're super frilly and they will sell well.
Yeah.
And Juliana Johnson says they will sell to Asia for full price and fast. Good to know. It's not a market that I generally sell to, but obviously when they fall into my lap, I certainly wasn't going to throw them away.
So Jen was asking about the Looney Tunes t-shirt. If it were a white t-shirt with the same graphic on, is it something that would be okay to bleach? And I'm going to say yes, because for the most part, what they use for printing on t-shirts and sweatshirts will not be bleached. So you can bleach it and it's only going to bleach the material. So for instance, a couple more things that I have here. Almost all of my white stuff, unless it looks like it's like perfectly clean and in good condition, I don't bleach. But almost most of my white stuff I do bleach, because usually it could use a little brightening up even if it doesn't have stains on it. And I've gotten more and more comfortable with using bleach. And so, for instance, this is just it says beachwear. I don't even know what it says. Powell beachwear. It's just like Lake Powell beachwear. Just a really cool like kind of ridiculous. Looks like 80s, probably like.
I like it. That's so fun.
Yeah, you can see the Hanes tag, so that's going to be like an late 80s sweatshirt. This I bleached because it wasn't like filthy or anything like that, but it was a little bit, after a while, somebody wears and washes and stuff gets a little, whites, they get a little dingier. So I bleached this, and in no way did it do anything to the graphic, because the what's used to print it does not get bleached. Same thing. Here's another sweatshirt. Speaking of schools, this is the Bowling Green Falcons. It's the first annual Las Vegas Bowl Champions 1992. Again, you can see the graphic there. This had some staining. I bleached the crap out of this. I treated the stains, and then I bleached it. And, I've talked in the past about using bleach tablets and stuff like that. And I have graduated, if you haven't heard, I have graduated up to just straight up biatch. Our washing machine has a pre-soak function. And so I will put everything in there, and we use detergent that we do cold wash with our stuff. So I'll take my whites, throw it in there. I use the deep water setting just because I want it to be nice and submerged. I throw my stuff in there. I put it on pre-soak. I let the water run in a little bit, and I don't measure it. I literally have a gallon of bleach, and I dump a bunch of bleach in there, probably
2 or 3 cups.
More than what they tell you to do. Whatever, it's totally fine.
The house smells like bleach all day, the day that she's processing clothing.
And then I close it up in there, and then it agitates it a little bit, lets it pre-soak for probably like a good 5 minutes or so before it washes. And then I have it with detergent too. And then I have it do a double rinse. So I'm really running up the water bill is what I'm saying.
It's true.
Anyway, so yeah.
Since she started processing her clothes this way and washing every single item, I think our water bill has gone up about $40 a month.
Yeah, $30 or $40, which whatever. I pay more for the bill because of that. But the reality is it's worth it. My stuff's clean. It looks better. I can demand higher prices for it. So this one look at it. I mean, this is not, I think it's coming through pretty good in the picture. It looks like a really nice, super white sweatshirt. It's in great condition from 1992. You can see that Fruit tag right there.
So I think we had about 155 people watching at the height. We still have 142 watching. If you are enjoying the show, hit the thumbs up. I see we've already had a couple of super fans hit the thumbs down. So we prefer the thumbs up, of course.
I like the thumbs down.
They help the algorithm. Also, when we're done with the show, if you'd like to comment on the video, that also helps our algorithms and search on Facebook, on YouTube. So we do appreciate you guys helping us out for the knowledge that we share with you.
I think your dad might need this shirt. I don't know if it though.
I don't think.
This is Jim Dandy.
Oh, God. Don't give him any ideas.
Black Oak, Arkansas t-shirt with kind of like a 70s Southern rock kind of Leonard Skinner-esque band. I don't know if we have any Black Oak, Arkansas fans out there, but this is just like a super awesomely worn and faded 1984 Ready as Hell tour.
I've never even heard of this band, guys. Has anybody else ever heard of this band? Because I'm a pretty well-versed music buff.
But this isn't your.
No, but I know Southern rock too.
Yeah,
I've never heard of this band.
Anyway, awesomely worn T-shirt, and I'm gonna throw in. I think I paid like $50 for this. I'm gonna throw in with my listing this awesome bandana kerchief,
the sweet bandana that went with it.
That has not been used as much as the shirt has. Black Oak, Arkansas.
So funny.
Just really cool, but I think it'll do well. One of my favorite things I picked up, and I paid up for, and I will hold out for. Honestly, if I would have waited like a week, I would have been able to get it for $60. I paid $80 for this sweatshirt because I didn't want it to miss out on it. I'll try to sell it for like $200, but you guys know how I am with movies and stuff, and this is just an amazing sweatshirt. This Universal Studios.
That's one that I would have yoinked if she wasn't going to try to sell it for so much. I actually like sweatshirts.
Yeah,
I don't like t-shirts like Katy does. I'm too busty. That's not a fun look for me, but I like sweatshirts.
This is just a really cool Universal's. It's not quite it's sort of like an all over print because it's got kind of stuff going on all over it, but it's the Universal Studios. I think this picture might be this might actually be the Steven Spielberg. It might actually be him. I'm not sure, but
that reminds me of the Steven Spielberg graphic for sure.
And then the back, Universal Studios, and it's got like on the sleeve here. It's got like this.
It's got a sleeve hit.
It's got like this big heavy kind of patch on it.
Big Universal front Studios. Hit, big back hit, and a sleeve hit.
But again, I paid $80. Now again, if I didn't have a personal love for movies and everything film, I probably wouldn't have paid up this much for this. But it's the kind of thing that I'm really excited about and I want to see in my store. And so I'm willing to pay up more for it and make less money on it. It's worth it to me to be able to at least temporarily own this piece and have it as a part of my collection. So I wouldn't say that like 80 was a good investment price to pay for it. The tag is this Universal Studios Premiere Collection. So I don't know anything about it. I haven't done any research on it. So I don't know, but I will try at least to get like $200 for it. It's just a really cool sweatshirt.
Look at that. The one person who knows what the band is, my dad. Black Oak, Arkansas, early 70s, my high school music days.
There you go. Very cool.
And just so you guys don't understand the math here, Jim he's actually my stepfather, but so he's technically old enough to be my father, but not quite. So that's why he's saying early 70s, his high school days.
He would have been what, like 15 when you were born?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how old he is. Yeah, he would have been 16 when I was born.
Yeah. So Blue Oyster Cult. I haven't looked this up. I don't know what this sells for, but this is a really cool 80s Blue Oyster Cult. I think I paid like $50 for it.
My mom was
awesome
a cougar.
Baseball tee. Blue Oyster Cult on the back there. Just a really cool shirt. I think
we've got someone from Alaska in our chat, and it's not Allison. Allison's not here today. What? Far North Thrift from Alaska.
Nice.
Thanks for popping in.
You guys have good stuff up there. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Hard Promises Tour, 1981. This is like an interesting like baseball tee, but it's all one color. The 3/4 sleeves. This is 1981 Hard Promises Tour. It's in really nice condition. See, I bleached this one. I bleached as well. Brightened it up a little bit. I don't know what I'll sell this for, but I think I paid like $50 for it. I have no idea what the market looks like for this particular shirt or for Tom Petty stuff, but I imagine decent since he's no longer with us. And it'll be huge nostalgia.
Yes, Tommy, Nanny, my mom was a cougar too. I don't think I'm a cougar. We only have a 4-year age difference.
Whatever. I'm far younger than you. Far younger. Guys, look at this amazing, you know how I feel about my Jesus tees. This is a Coca-Cola parody, sort of Jesus Christ, all the ways, was it? In all thy ways, Jesus Christ, acknowledge him, and he will direct thy paths. Proverbs 3:6. This is from 1996. I always do well with my Christian t-shirts. So I'll actually price this at like $100.
That's a good one. That's
which
one of
is
the best
possible
ones.
if this would go for $100, but I'll sell it for like $75 if it goes down to that. But it's a really nice big size 2XL on an anvil tag. This is a 90s anvil tag right there. What else do I have? Is there anything else I need to show you? Couple things.
Hey, Megan, I would totally own the cougar thing if she was young enough. We're just not.
The joke is, though, that she's more of a cougar because I come across like I'm still...
She is a 12-year-old boy.
Teenager or something.
I'm 45. She's 41. So it's not quite cougar territory, but she acts like she's 12 and she obviously looks a lot younger than I do. So people think that there is a much larger age difference usually.
Sorry, Grandma.
I know.
All right. Last piece I have is this sweet Dawkins tee, which I just listed. This is from 1986, I believe. This is, I can't remember what tour. It's something American tour. But this one is, I just listed, I think I listed it for like $200. It's sleeveless.
Oh, I like that. That muscle sleeve thing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But it's on a signal tag. It's a nice size though, because the tag says extra large, but it really measures more like a large. But for any of you fans of like 80s rock tees out there, you know how hard it is to even find like something that measures like a large. They're usually more like a small or a medium if you're lucky. So the fact that this one actually measures,
so
like a large,
this was on my girl Jen that's in the chat. You know that this was on a scrawny rocker boy with a sunken in chest and about 4% body fat.
No. That would be one of the regular ones. This one they'd be swimming in.
But no, nice, they always wore the muscle shirts or cut the sleeves off when they had little toothpick arms.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, this is the last one I'll show you guys. I think I paid like $50 or $60 for that. but I should be able to get 175, 150, 175 for it. I have it priced at 210.
They used to call it heroin chic when it was the girls in the Calvin Klein ads, right? And then it became the boys, and the boys they just always looked like scrawny stoners with a single dangly earring. Absolutely, Jacob.
A single dingle dangle. Anyway, that's it. That's it for me. That's what I got to show you.
This is a quick show for us.
Yeah.
Maybe it's me that talks a lot.
Hey, boy, you do talk a lot, but I think I kept it up a little bit, you know?
Kept up the pace.
Kept up the pace.
An hour and a half on the nose. That's a pretty short show for us, guys.
Yep.
So remember, if you are watching or if you tuned in late and you go back to watch the beginning of the show, after the show, please comment below and let us know which show you would like us to bring back during the week, whether you would want us to bring back our Wednesday Boss Up and List business show or our Friday Ask Me Anything No Pants Friday show. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be on that day, but which of the show formats do you prefer? Both are live.
It could be a business show with topics or an Ask Me Anything, more of a Q&A business show. They're both going to be like, they can both be
sometimes they're businessy, sometimes they're just
whatever, more silly,
topical.
Whatever. Yeah. And if you'd rather have it during the day, early in the day, late in the day, kind of what time you would prefer.
This show is staying. No question.
This
Sunday's staying 2:00. No problem. We're not moving this one, but we are going to try to add back one show during the week. Can't do both. So let us know which one you prefer. We're going to go based off your suggestions. And that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us. We always have fun. We are going to get back to work. I'm going to listen to this one whine a little bit about how hungry she is because she didn't eat lunch. She might try to convince me to order like an early dinner.
Sounds likely.
Yeah, sounds likely. And then we'll get back to work. But anyway, guys, have a really good week. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Get some work done.
Try to stay off the social media.
Take a break from social media.
Give yourself set some
business
limits.
goals. Set some business goals. Start looking at your numbers. What kind of stuff you can start focusing on to try and
I wanted to say set some limits on the social media stuff, because let's face it, our world is in a bit of a crazy uproar right now, and it is infiltrating. It's infiltrating our daily lives. I think a bit too much. 15 years ago, we didn't have social media in the same way, and life was a lot easier.
Yeah.
And people were a lot nicer to each other.
Yeah. But when you are working at home, working for yourself, and you're the only one you have to answer to, it's good to set some limits for yourself so that you can focus and get some work done and take care of you and yours. So we will see you in the boss group on the interwebs, and we'll see you next week.
For sure.
Bye.